In yesterday's class, we have discussed regarding the various steps involved in the biomedical waste management. It is going to have these particular steps. That is, first one is segregation, next is collection, storage, transportation. In the last class, we have concentrated more about these particular things, that is segregation, collection, storage and transportation. Now in today's class we are going to discuss regarding either treatment or disposal. Okay, so in today's class we are going to discuss on the treatment or disposal techniques. In treatment and disposal we are going to have the chemical processes, thermal processes. Thermal process will be having, again it is divided into the low heat processes, that is operating between 93 degrees Celsius to 177 degrees Celsius. Then high heat will be operating around 540 degrees Celsius and 8300 degrees Celsius. Then incineration. Then we will discuss regarding the mechanical processes, then eradication process, then biological process. This chemical process, we will be using it for the treatment. Okay, we are going to disinfect that whatever, as I have told, the biomedical wastes are highly infectious. So whatever the microbes are going to be developed in that particular biomedical waste, we are going to kill it by a disinfectants. So which are the different kinds of disinfectant that we are going to use in the chemical processes are the sodium hypochlorite, then dissolved chlorine dioxide, then paracetic acid, then hydrogen peroxide, dry inorganic chemical and ozone. We are going to use it as a disinfectant. Most chemical processes are water intensive, that means we are going to use it with the water and require the neutralizing agent. This treatment is recommended for waste sharps, solid and liquid waste as well as the chemical waste. The chemical treatment involves, that is, use of at least 1% of hypochlorite solution with minimum contact period of 30 minutes. That means we need to apply around 1% of hypochlorite solution, that is sodium hypochlorite, we have to add in water, and it should be in water, it should dissolve, and then it should have around the contact period of 30 minutes. Or other equivalent chemical reagents such as phenolic compounds, iodine, then hexachlorophene, then iodine alcohol or formaldehyde alcohol combination can also be used. In USA, the chemical treatment facility is available in mobile vans. In one version, the waste is passed through 10% hypochlorite solution followed by finer drying and shredding. Okay, and the treated material is then thereafter the landfill. Suppose if any disinfected agent if we are going to have, then if after having the full disinfection we are going to have the landfilling of that particular material. Next is the thermal process. Now thermal process means here we are going to take the help of temperature in order to disinfect. Okay, depending upon the temperature, it has been grouped into two categories, that is low heat system, that is at a temperature in between 93 degrees Celsius to 177 degrees Celsius, and high heat, that is 540 degrees Celsius to 8300 degrees Celsius. Okay, here in the low heat system we are going to have the autoclave and microwave or low heat system. Autoclaving, in the low heat system we are going to use autoclaving. Autoclaving is a low heat thermal process and it uses a steam for a disinfection of a waste. Autoclaves are available or of two types depending upon the method they use to remove of the air pockets are gravity flow autoclave and the vacuum flow autoclave. The autoclave should be dedicated for the purpose of disinfecting and the treating the biomedical waste. Next is, we are low heat systems itself, we are going to have the microwaving. It is a process which disinfects the waste by moist heat and steam. Okay, here we are going to use the moist heat and steam, whereas in the autoclaving we are going to use the low heat along with the steam. Here the moist heat and the steam generated by the microwave energy. The microwave treatment shall not be used for the cytotoxic, hazardous or radioactive waste, right? Or else if it is going to be reacted with it in the presence of this, then they may react and it may cause the other problems. The microwave system shall comply with the efficiency test routine test. Okay, the microwave should completely and consequently it is going to kill the bacteria and the pathogenic organisms. It is ensured by approved biological indicator at a maximum capacity. Okay, next is your the high heat thermal processes. In this high heat we are going to have the incinerator as well as the hydroclaving. Now what is, we already know about the incinerator. In our last processes we have seen what is incineration, how it works, what are the different types of it. Now we'll have some on we'll have some part on the hydroclaving. It is, hydroclaving is a steam treatment with the fragmentation and drying of the waste. Okay, so it is, we are going to use it is going to use a steam along with the fragmentation of the drying waste. We are going to have it in the hydroclaving. The temperature we are going to have for this particular systems are in between 540 to 8300 degrees Celsius. It employs the combustion and high temperature plasma to decontaminate and it destroys the waste. Incinerator should be suitably designed to achieve the emission limits, and the toxic metals in the incineration ash shall be limited with the regulatory quantities. And we also, as we have discussed in the last class, that it should be always, should be supported with the chimneys. So chimneys, what it will do, it is going to take whatever the emissions, whatever we are going to have it, it is going to take it to the higher altitude. So these particular incineration, whatever the biomedical waste that we are going to generate, we usually use it for the disposal purpose itself. So you can say that the incineration can be utilized for the disposal purposes. Okay, now here in incinerator we are going to use the two types of incinerator. One is the multiple hearth furnace and the rotary kiln incinerator. Multiple hearth furnace, what we do is, I have in the last classes while telling you regarding the incineration, multiple hearth furnace is having the single shaft is there at the center. To this, the rotors, various hand arms will be there, right? At the top it is going to we are going to have the waste material at the top, and we are going to use the temperature of around 1000 to 1500 degrees Celsius. We are going to use it for a multiple hearth furnace. It is I have shown you along with the diagram. So if you want the more details regarding that, then you can go to that multiple hearth furnace, how the working and all, you can have it. Now rotary kiln incinerator also, it works at a temperature of around 800 to 900 degrees Celsius. Why we call it as a rotary kiln incinerator is that kiln will be continuously, it will be rotating at a speed of around 2 to 4 rpm, right? And we have given a slope to that, and usually these incinerator will be working upon the diesel or diesel shall be used as a fuel in the incinerator. So here this is, and it should be associated with the air chimney. So it should take the pollutants to the higher altitude. Third process is mechanical process. This process is used to change the physical characteristics of waste to facilitate waste handling or process waste in conjunction with the other treatment steps. That means what we are going to have is, we are going to whatever the larger biomedical waste material are there, what we are going to do, we are going to reduce its volume by using various kinds of shredders. We are going to have the Hamel mill, flail mill, then we are going to have these tubes and all we are going to cut, and then we are going to if we want to send it to the recycling unit, we are going to send it, or we are going to, if we want to dispose it. Okay, next here we are also going to have the compaction we are going to use to reduce the volume of the waste material, and shredding, as I have told, used to destroy the plastic and paper waste to prevent their reuse, and it is disinfected. If we normally we are going to have the shredding for the disposal purposes. Okay, normally this shredding, if we want to normal in the normal plastic waste, okay, if we want to have the size reduction and all, or if we want to reuse it for recycling, we are going to use the shredding. But for specifically for the biomedical waste, as these are infectious waste material, we are not going to send it to the your recycling unit. Okay, so shredding in the biomedical waste, it is completely for the disposal purpose, okay, or it in order to destroy the plastic. Then next thing is we are going to discuss on eradication process. In the eradication process, we are going to use the ultraviolet or ionizing radiation in an enclosed chamber. The systems require the post shredding to render the waste and unrecognizable. So whatever the waste material that has to be disinfected, what we are going to use, we are going to use the UV treatment for that and ionizing eradication systems. For a disposal of a biomedical waste, we usually use this particular incineration process, right? Then chemical process are for disinfection, thermal processes in that low heat and high, it is for disinfection. Mechanical process, we are going to reduce the volume. Eradication process, we are going to have the disinfectioning. Then in the biological process and in this incineration, we use it for the disposal of biomedical waste. Incineration, it is completely, it is whatever the waste it is going to be produced in the biomedical field, we are going to dispose it by burning. Whereas the biological processes, what we are going to use is, we are going to use the sanitary landfill, that whatever waste material that we are going to have, we are going to dispose them into the landfill site. That means we are going to bury it into the soil. Okay, so deep burial for a human anatomical waste, when it is facility of a proper incineration, it is not there in that cases, and wherever the population is less than 5 lakh population, and if in that particular area, if the incineration facility is not there, then we are going to use the deep burial method. Okay, in this particular method, if we want to dispose of these biomedical waste, a pit or a trench is dug to about 2-meter height. Okay, and then it should be half filled with the biomedical waste. Here it should be half filled with the biomedical waste. On this particular waste, we are going to have around 50 centimeters of lime is we are going to cover, 2-meter depth, and then it should be half filled with the biomedical waste, and 50 centimeter it should, on the surface we are going to place the lime. Okay, before filling the pit with the soil, at the top we should cover it with the soil. This lime is going to act as a disinfectant whenever we are going to throw the biomedical waste into it. Okay, on each occasion when biomedical waste are added to a pit, a layer of 10 centimeter of soil should be added to the top. Okay, the site should be relatively impermeable, and it should and no shallow well should be close to the waste. Okay, here we should not have any kind of a shallow water body. That means we should not have any shallow well, or else whatever, if suppose there is a percolation, or suppose there is a decomposition is going to take place, then, and due to the rainwater when it is going to enter, it may, these contamination may enter into the groundwater. So that part, due to whenever we are going to have this biomedical waste disposal, we should take care that there should not be any water source should be there near to that particular disposal site. Okay, now for disposal of autoclaved or a hydroclaved waste should be sent to the sanitary landfill also. Okay, for the disposal of sharp, okay, we will be using this particular diagram for the disposal of a sharp. This is for the burial or a disposal of the human anatomical waste, and this is for the sharps. Okay, this particular diagram we are going to use it for the sharp, okay, that is needle, syringes, or your whatever the sharp materials are there. In order to dispose them, we will be using this particular diagram. For disposal of sharp, hospitals have to construct a concrete lined pit of about 1 meter length, 1 meter breadth, 1 meter depth, and it should have a cover of a concrete slab with having 1 to 1 meter, 1.5 meter steel pipe. We should have 1 to 1.5 meter steel pipe to it, which is going to have a diameter of 5 centimeter, right? From here we are going to dispose whatever the syringes or say blades, whatever those sharp edges are there, we are going to dispose into these particular the land, that is we are going to have 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter, that is LBD. We are going to have it, and we are going to dispose all the sharp material over here. As these sharp material are harmful to the human being, we are going to dispose it here. And when the pit is going to be get filled, what we are going to do is, this particular pipe is there, it should be filled with the cement, so that there should be no further addition of the sharp should be done in this particular pit. Okay, so this is how we are going to dispose both the sharps as well as your normal human body or human anatomical waste. This is how we are going to dispose. So in today's class we have covered the biomedical waste, that is management. In management we have seen the treatment. In the treatment we have seen how the chemical processes can be done by having the hypochlorite solution and all. Then we have seen different thermal processes, that is low heat and high heat thermal processes. Then incineration. Then the incineration process we have seen that we are going to use the multiple hearth furnace and rotary kiln incinerator. Mechanical processes we have seen that we are going to use the shredders and compactors. Eradication we are going to use a UV treatment. Biological process we are going to use the sanitary landfill for both the human anatomical waste and the normal, the sharp type of a waste disposal. We have seen it. So we have now today we have covered the complete biomedical waste management. In this, the biomedical waste management, we have seen what is biomedical waste management, what are the sources of biomedical waste management, then how to then we have seen what are the different 1998 biomedical rules, that is we have studied schedule 1, schedule 2 along with its color coding. Then we have seen what are the biomedical waste management steps. Then we have seen the treatment and disposal technique. So biomedical waste is one of the very important aspect as of your examination are concerned. So most probably they will be asking the treatment methods and then biomedical waste management techniques. Then they may ask you regarding the color coding, how we are going to divide the biomedical waste into the different categories along with the color coding. So we have completed the biomedical waste management part.